groups partner Amnesty Office to entrench change agenda in Niger Delta. Amnesty Sports for Peace initiative gains traction as more delegates graduate from Soccer Academy. Plus, fact file, tidbits, and more. Hello and welcome to Reintegration 30,000, a series on the activities of the Presidential Amnesty Program for former armed agitators from the Niger Delta region. We did promise that this episode will feature all of our regular segments, and that is a promise that we will keep. And of course, we will consolidate on the success stories of the Amnesty Program whilst we bring you feelers from other stakeholders on their thoughts and opinions on the implementation of the program. Let's get the ball rolling with our segment that brings you an account that typifies the transformative agenda of the Presidential Amnesty Program. Our changed story is someone who walks the streets of Port Harcourt, Rivers State, advocating the message of change, hope, and transformation. He does this in the open, doing what the typical evangelist would do. But few years back, this delegate was dreaded and was in fact a menace to society. All that is now water under the bridge as the Presidential Amnesty Program paved the way for his transformation.
My name is Anecho Dumali Kienge. I am from Ogoni in Rivers State. I'm a delegate, an ex-agitator. I got into the Amnesty Program in 2009. But before 2009, I was completely lost. In violence, in wickedness. I was a menace even to myself. I haven't been a menace to society and the state. Welcome to the 4 Arrow Center of the Youth Rescue International Development Organization, where I am the Executive Director and the CEO of this organization. I'd like to take you to the classroom where we just finished our morning lecture. I need to prepare you for what we'll be having next week for 7 days. And so that you understand in advance what we'll be dealing with. Do you understand? I'd like you to sit down. There was a threat to everybody's life. Several times attempts has been made to arrest me for crimes I committed. Crimes like sea piracy. I never kidnapped because when I was doing all that, kidnapping was not involved. We'll do more of sea piracy, go on vessels, go on fish trawlers to rob them and get money and to keep ourselves going, to buy arms and to buy drugs and to sleep with women. The turnaround took place in 2003 before the amnesty. And so I've started talking about peace before the amnesty came up. In fact, when I heard about the amnesty, I took the responsibility of going to the likes of Chief Ateke Tom to go and talk to him to lay down his arms. I went to Camp 4. I have the videos, I have pictures. I was the person who personally called the Inspector General of Police then, Michael Kiro, to come and see the fact that amnesty can work. I had the privilege to be trained by Amnesty. They took us to South Africa as ex-agitators, leaders, ex-militants, the generals. We went to South Africa, and Dr. Lafayette, the personal secretary to late Martin Luther King Jr., took us on conflict management and non-violence approach to agitations. And so I got motivated and added to the experience I had and with the encounter I had with God when He saved me. I started going about talking to people about living a more peaceful life. using a more peaceful approach to make agitations and to make requests and demands. And so that's what led to the 4 Center. What we are trying to achieve is to bring people who were enemies to themselves together in a place. We have people who are members of the Deban Court group, the Iceland Court group, the Greenland Court group that makes up the militant body. And so bringing them together here will teach them love. And so they eat together in this dining. I'd like to take you to the kitchen. And this is the kitchen we arranged for them, where they could prepare their meals for themselves, and so that they could begin to take responsibility. The kind of life I lived, I was not supposed to be alive. God saw 20 years from that time that if He saved me, I will go back to save others. And that is the only reason why I'm alive. Because I saw my friends die in the process. My friends who had champs, the champs failed them. And so sometimes I ask myself, how come these champs did not fail me? So it was not a function of champs, nor smartness. It was just the mercy of God and the love of God that was specially at work in my life. Now that I'm saved, what will I do to appreciate the Lord? So I started praying, and God said to me, I want you to go back and begin to talk to people who were like you.
We are bold as a lion, and filled with confidence. We are bold.
There's no title attached to my name. I refused to answer a pastor, even though I was doing the work of a pastor. I refused to answer an evangelist, even though I was doing the job of evangelist. I refused to appear on posters, on pictures, when I go on outreach. Yesterday I was in Upolu talking to about 1,000 students, secondary school students, and I was telling them against the danger in cultism, how they will lose their mind and that they will not be able to comprehend when they get to university. They will not even graduate. And so I went underground and started doing what I have been doing, because I had this consciousness that whatever I'm going to do is just to please the one who rescued me.
Nature is quite a compelling character. Not only does he typify the fundamental of the Presidential Amnesty Program, he has gone further to engage himself in leading others towards the light. Well, we do know that over the years, the Amnesty Program has successfully converted a lot of folks like nature, and most of them have become meaningful members of society. But it does not just end there, as thousands have been trained in various vocations and fields to enhance their self-worth and make them truly reintegrated into civil life. This week, we will revisit the Presidential Amnesty Program training in aquaculture as a component of agriculture. Our segment, Insight, is next. The training in aquaculture springs from the Enhanced Agriculture Training Initiative of the Presidential Amnesty Program. It is considered critical and key in the drive to achieve national food sufficiency and reverse an otherwise unfortunate trend. Despite the huge potential in the nation's water and biodiversity, available records show that Nigeria spends $700 million annually importing fish.
The country is spending so much money importing fish, and we, from this area, fish is naturally growing. What is wrong with us that we still continue to be importing fish?
The National Crusade on Agriculture aims to revitalize areas of cropping and livestock, especially where Nigeria has comparative advantage. And fish farming is one of such areas. Ironically, aquaculture, which has the highest potential of 2.5 million metric tons, is currently contributing an unimpressive 1% to the gross domestic product. Turning the tide, therefore, requires an aggressive investment in skills and the development of personnel for fish farming. Thus, the engagement of training partners in aquaculture by the Presidential Amnesty Office.
It's not just this is fish, you put them in the pond and after 6 months you can sell. No, you have to teach them different kinds of fish. Like catfish, you have different types, you know, the popular ones, that is the ones that is indigenous to our area there, you know. So you have to teach them how to crossbreed, what kills them, you know, either when it's at its fry stage before they develop to become fingerlings and then on to table size. It takes a process. The local farmer may not understand the technicalities of fish farming. All he does is he buys the fish, puts it in the pond. If anything happens, he doesn't know why. But here we teach them the dangers they face in fish farming.
The scope of training for the Amnesty delegates is vast. The lessons span core technical areas of species, insemination, hatchery, breeding, as well as marketing. Fish farming is currently one of the fastest growing agriculture enterprises in the country. Nigeria is a high fish consumer with a total current consumption figure of about 1.5 million metric tons annually. This is indicative of the market potential for farmers in aquaculture.
There's a lot of excitement, and especially we expose them to the market also. It's not just for local consumption. We've prepared them that they can roast, you know, smoke this fish and export, and thereby earning foreign exchange also.
A huge part of what is currently being done for delegates under the training is the setting up of a support structure. This aims to boost sustainability and encourage participating delegates to continue the business. Not only is it cheaper to farm aquatic animals than terrestrial species, the rate of return on investment is considered even higher.
Our model is fashioned along these lines. We cluster them into groups of 20, between 20 and 25. Then we incorporate a company, a cooperative society, each group. What that means is that at the farm, each group has 44. If there are 22 in the group, we give them 44 fish ponds. That means 2 per person. But no, you cannot point to any particular pond that belongs to one individual. It's a group thing. It's owned by that company. So we have clusters of 22 all over the place. And there we have over 600 ponds. So that takes care of about 300 delegates. Each person has, like I said, 2, but you can't specifically say these 2 are mine because there are problems with that. So, but instead, when you make it like communal, it's easier. You all work together to feed the fish morning, afternoon, evening, and then to maintain the farms. And it's cheaper that way. That's the whole idea.
The Presidential Amnesty Program has so far trained hundreds of delegates in aquaculture, while many have been empowered in the vocation. The Amnesty Office is driven to continue this training, considering the rising demand-supply gap and the increasing estimated potential of aquaculture and its present contribution to local fish supply. You're watching Reintegration 30,000. Our guest on Talking Point is High Chief Mike Ikeyama Loyibo. He is the National Coordinator and Convener, Pan-Niger Delta People's Congress, and foremost activist. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me, Stella.
What is your current impression of government's commitment to the Niger Delta, particularly when you put it against recent gains being made by the Presidential Amnesty Program?
Well, we, as a person and those people that I represent, I mean the ordinary Niger Delta people, who have not had this good under any regime. One, because this is the first time we have seen the leadership of the country, apart from Yaradua's time. that has shown enough commitment on the issues of the Niger Delta, and they are ready and willing to affect the Niger Delta in a very positive manner. And the amnesty program, because for us, even if it's a security program, that is the only working program in the Niger Delta area. And we advise government to see how they can commit more money and strengthen the program financially. And so far, they have also listened to us, and there have been practical steps, not only the 16-point agenda we presented, but practical other steps that is turning the Niger Delta around.
In spite of the gains being made in the region, why are we still witnessing pockets of nefarious activities such as pipeline vandalism and kidnappings?
No, you don't expect 100% gains in any environment, apart from the genuine freedom fighters that are fighting for the betterment of the region. You still have some criminal elements that are there to distract and frustrate our peace process. So for me, the 0.2% distractions, I mean kidnappings, attacking oil installations, are purely criminal minded. The major and the genuine agitators as our support, and they have given us so much of assurance that they are ready to partner with government at the center to develop the Niger Delta region. So whatever that you are seeing, with time we are working very hard on these distractions. I just came back from the creek, and I know that in the next 2 weeks you will be seeing all these distractions, because we have been able to put measures in place. The Joy Youth Council, we have asked the Joy Youth Council, the IYC, under Barrister Community William Perotubo, to be able to set up task force in the 3 zones around the area in central zone, to be able to see how they can check this kidnapping, destruction of oil installations, and even attacks on military formations. So very soon it will be a thing of the past.
Generally speaking, the narrative of the Niger Delta is gradually changing from poverty and underdevelopment to empowerment and steady growth. What should other stakeholders, such as the state governments, traditional rulers, as well as agencies and bodies like your group do to stabilize the polity?
No, we are out primarily to fight for the betterment of the Niger Delta people. And when recently the Agri people in the creek and the people of the region feel dissatisfied with PANDEF, Pan-Niger Delta Forum, and transferred the mandate of discussing with government to the Pan-Niger Delta People's Congress under the leadership of His Majesty King Mobutu, with chairman of the Traditional Ruler Council in Akwa Ibom State, and the king of Ogoni land, the king of Ogola Kingdom, that is the hub of the oil and gas in Niger Delta. Another eminent people, Professor Benjamin Okaba, Professor Young and Co. The mission is to be able to transparently, because you know in our area we suspect each other, and we need to partner government to be able to attract development to the area.
In a quick summation, please tell us what you expect in the Niger Delta in the coming years.
I want, and our people want government at the center to be able to treat the Niger Delta as a special place. Because if it is we that is laying the golden egg, we must be treated in that capacity. We want government to implement all the 16-point agenda as presented by us, and the expanded agenda that made it 23. If the government at the center said IOCs move to the operational area, the IOCs don't need to give excuse. In the coming months or coming days, we want the IOCs to move to the Niger Delta area.
Chief Mike Ikayama Loyibo, thank you for coming on the program. It has been a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you, Stella. Thank you for having me.
High Chief Mike Ikayama Loyibo is the National Coordinator and Convener, Pan-Niger Delta People's Congress, and foremost activist. Time now for some quick news update. This is coming in recap. The Presidential Amnesty Office and the Ministry of Water Resources are currently holding discussions on how best to revamp and put into commercial use the Niger Delta River Basin, particularly the Peremabiri Rice Farm in Bayelsa State. The Special Advisor to the President on Niger Delta and Coordinator of the Presidential Amnesty Program, Brigadier General Paul Boro, retired, made this known when he visited the Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Water Resources in Abuja. Brigadier General Boro, while revealing the interest of the Amnesty Office in the Peremabiri Rice Farm, said beneficiaries of the program are being trained and empowered in agriculture in line with President Buhari's economic policy and emphasis on agriculture.
Our area of focus now is agriculture, in line with the federal government vision to transform the agri sector of the country so that we can revamp our economy and create massive job opportunities for our youth, which I think is the major concern and the major issue as why there's restiveness in the entire country.
In another news, the Special Advisor to the President on Niger Delta and Coordinator of the Presidential Amnesty Program, Brigadier General Paul Boro, has received the 2017 Humanitarian and Philanthropic Endeavors Award by the World Habitat Ambassadors Foundation. The award, according to the organizers, is in recognition of General Boro's outstanding contributions to the growth and development of society. World Habitat Foundation is a non-governmental organization dedicated to achieving the set goals for urban development, sustainable shelter, and the Sustainable Development Goals. Lastly, and also in Yenagoa, the Bayelsa State capital, the Special Advisor to the President on Niger Delta and Coordinator Presidential Amnesty Program, Brigadier General Paul Boro, has been conferred with the Niger Delta Peace Advocate Award. The award was received on his behalf by his technical assistant, Major Abdul Mati, retired, during the Miss Peace Bayelsa Beauty Pageant and other events commemorating the Bayelsa Peace Day. The day marks events that led to Niger Delta militants willingly dropping their arms at the Peace Park in response to the federal government amnesty program. This is it for this episode. For comments, reactions, and inputs, please take advantage of our different social media platforms to make your contributions. Remember to join us same time next week as we bring you more on the activities of the Presidential Amnesty Program. Also, do remember that amnesty works. I am Stella Inameti.